everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is Zoe Neelam. I'm from First. We are an entrepreneurial skill development agency based out of Gateshead, and we run numerous projects across the North East and nationally to help encourage startup businesses, including the Startup Awards North East. And I'd like to pass over to our award partner, the social impact partner, PNE, and Billy.
Hi everyone, my name is Billy Jenkins. I work with an organisation called PNE. We're based in the North East and we help people to start businesses, we help businesses to grow and to overcome challenges, and then we also work with large organisations to help them support entrepreneurship across the UK. As Zoe said, we're the partners of the Social Impact Award because we're really passionate about helping businesses that make a strong social and environmental impact in the region, and it's great to be here today.
My name's Darren Tate. I am kind of the founder of a program called Suitability, and what we do is we support any male who's unemployed with access to free interview clothes advice when they're kind of attending their interviews. All of our clothes are donated by some wonderful people and businesses supporting us to be sustainable kind of throughout 2021 and beyond. I entered the awards in 2019. And just kind of potentially looking at what the new applicants are like.
Hi guys, my name's Chris Nutman and I'm passionate about design for change and well-being. I entered the awards in 2018 and won the Ideas Prize. Since then I've been kind of forever grateful for the support that First has offered me, and I'm really keen to help other applicants and show to them what they can get out of this process.
Amazing, great to have everyone introduced. So just to set a little bit of the scene for what we're going to talk about today, the purpose of this is if you're interested in the awards, maybe you don't know if it's for you yet, maybe you've got a really strong idea about wanting to put an application in, but it's just to provide some kind of information about the awards and some top tips for how to put in a strong application. Zoe, do you want to start off by just introducing a little bit more about the awards?
Yeah, that'll be good. I should probably share to everyone what the awards is and why we're all here today. So as I mentioned, First is an accredited learning and development agency that focuses on leadership and progression skills. One of the projects that we have been part of for years and newly rebranded is the Startup Awards. This competition and awards ceremony is purely designed to celebrate the talent in the region, but fundamentally to increase the confidence in multiple people with business ideas, because the North East has the lowest startup rates in the country, and we really want to help change that for the future. So the competition is free for anyone to get involved with. There's loads of fun events, networking opportunities, other little bits and opportunities, great prizes, and essentially just a great collection of partners, including Billy and PNE as the Social Impact Award partner, to kind of offer any form of expertise, whether that's a discussion, a chat, and other support. So we've got loads of future workshops similar to today's that will help early stage founders up to the age of 3 years. So open for applications until the end of this month. Main thing to know, dead easy to apply online. It takes 15 minutes, 3-minute video is how you to explain your business and who you are. We can even send you some pitching tips. And essentially it'll all come to 3 live events, all fully online this June, where you'll pitch, if you're shortlisted by the judges, you'll be pitched to members of the North East business community, your business and your idea, and essentially get in the pot to win. So in order to make that application and that process amazing, that's what Billy's here to kind of help you with today.
That's awesome, Zoe. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, we've PNE has partnered with First for 5 years now, delivering entrepreneurship awards, and it's always so exciting to see the different business ideas that come through the door and get to know the entrepreneurs behind them.
It really
On that
is.
Subject, let's hear from 2 of them now. So Chris, do you just want to do a few minutes explaining kind of what your business is, who you are, and a little bit about your experience of the competition?
Thanks, Billy. So yeah, I basically founded a CIC, which is a social enterprise, back in 2019. But just before that, I was in my first job after graduating basically in design, and all that was whirring around in my head was this idea that I came up with at university. And then it was called My Cloud Coach, and it was an idea that wanted to solve a problem in developing countries, and that problem is lack of learning material. So, for example, in Cameroon, one textbook shared between 12 children. This sparsity of learning resources is something that I felt really passionate about and felt I could personally solve through design. So I kind of really just spoke about it to everyone that I met, and I went on a business course from my job when I graduated. And I remember a lady, Laura, she was like, "You have to do this idea. Like, you shouldn't be here for this, you should be doing that." And it was really that moment where I started to look for opportunities, and one of them was basically get a mentor. So I met this lady called Janice Green, who mentioned what at the time was "If we can, you can," and I just decided to write the application. So it's the first thing I'd done of that nature. Wrote an application really without, and this is going to be kind of my message today, without much strategy or structure, but a real kind of burning passion was like portrayed through the words, I suppose. So that was my technique, and then got through the application process, and then went to St James's Park for the Ideas Prize final, let's say, and then ended up winning. And that to me was, I'll just never actually forget that. I was driving there, repeating over and over, "I won the If We Can, You Can challenge, I won." And I was doing it. That's how important it was to us, because I was so passionate about this idea. And that first point of validation was huge. That led to, well, working with PNE. For one of the prizes of winning was working with PNE, and I've been getting mentorship with Lee ever since, really, and developed that relationship. There was also other numerous prizes, but the main thing is, I would say, is the sense of support and community, and the belief that you guys have had in me since then, to really propel me as an entrepreneur forward. I don't think without that, it would have been, it's already a lonely journey, but it would have been far worse without that. And that's why I'm such an advocate for the awards, I suppose. So that's basically what I'm up to. I will say that we've rebranded from My Cloud Coach to Global Teacher. And we're a charity that basically has a platform with a movement called Donate a Duck, and a solar power projector that projects all of this information offline and off grid in rural areas. So that's kind of the concept, just to give it a little bit more of an outline.
I was waiting for you to say that your best thing was meeting me, so I'm a little bit disappointed.
Well, you're part of the package as well, so like it's all one. Really, it has been extraordinary though. Like, imagine without it, I'm being truthful, like imagine without it, it wouldn't have been the same. And then just what you guys have like kind of afforded for me in terms of network and business community. Yeah, it's been excellent.
We've had lots of laughs.
Definitely.
I think that's one of the really strong things about the awards, right, is it connects you into the ecosystem. And if you think about how much the four of us have connected since 2-3 years ago because of that, it's crazy. Like, Chris has been involved in PNE projects, and Darren's been on our programs and those kind of things. So it's really nice. Darren, do you want to share a little bit about Suitability and your experience with the awards?
It's kind of obviously kind of applied in 2019, but that's, I guess, like kind of similar to Chris, was the first thing I'd ever, kind of entered or had the opportunity. So I guess a little bit behind Suitability was, so my day job, I worked for a charity supporting people with mental and physical health barriers back to employment. And I basically kind of got the chance to visit, I guess, the Smart Works, which is the equivalent of what Suitability is. So they support women with interview clothes, and I'm kind of managed to take a lady along, kind of to get kind of kitted out, I guess, and get the confidence, and seeing something firsthand, and then realizing that there wasn't anything for men, kind of almost, kind of, I guess, planted that seed. And I think, again, like Chris, when it's one person, it is quite a, I suppose, kind of a big world. And I remember, I would get on the train with a few donated suits to, kind of, gentlemen would try them on in the library. But again, I was always that, I'm really sorry about this, I really want premises, or, kind of, really anxious about, how the facilitation of what I was doing. Yet the gentleman absolutely loved it. You know, they were getting a free suit, they were getting the confidence, and they were getting that going forwards. And I remember, you know, not necessarily having for myself the confidence, kind of almost having a business, if that makes sense, and being an entrepreneur and having all these kind of links, because I'd had it in my day job. That was my day job. And I remember, you know, kind of getting on the train one night and being on Twitter and seeing, you know, seeing the awards. And I think there was something like 5 hours left to enter. And it was about 9 o'clock, you know, kind of on the evening. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to enter, you know, kind of. And I remember one of the questions was, you know, kind of who are you entering on behalf of? And I remember putting myself, and you know, not necessarily thinking I'll get something back. And I remember the following day, Zoe contacted us to say, can you just give me a little bit more information about what you're actually, you know, kind of proposing that you want to kind of do in the application. And, you know, kind of from there it was, oh, you've made the first round, you know, congratulations, you've made the second round. But then not necessarily kind of, you know, making it to, you know, the final stages, but it was that kind of, you know, the community spirit of saying, well, actually, you know, we really like what you're doing. We really kind of, you know, we want you to be part of what we're trying to build as well. And I remember getting the invite to kind of, you know, it was, I used to do kind of the networking during the day, but it was whenever I had the lanyard off, it was, you know, kind of, I didn't do that. Whereas, you know, I went to the, you know, one of these networking events and, you know, kind of met a lot of like-minded people, you know, kind of all with that, you know, very, I guess their, you know, their story and their personal experiences, which then, you know, you then connect and you start then building the network, and then you start and, you know, kind of meeting other people, and it opens, you know, new opportunities from that. And that's, I think, what I kind of took away from it is on the confidence of, you know, and I think a lot of it was, you know, if someone steals the idea or someone else is going to do it, but it's what kind of makes you do it for you. And I already knew, you know, as I said, I started off doing it for, you know, a gentleman who didn't have access to an interview, any interview clothes, didn't have the funds, and it was one of my own donated suits. But then getting to tell people that on a networking event and listening to them go, that's brilliant, you know, and this is what I do. And, you know, that kind of really does, you know, give you a sense of purpose. And I think, you know, that was back in 2019, and, you know, kind of seeing what or where I am now, and yeah, kind of the linkage with loads of different services, just kind of, you know, it really does give you the confidence going forwards. And yeah, I think that's, you know, kind of, you know, judging by, you know, the four of us kind of this evening is that kind of like-minded people. So we all, you know, we all want to do, you know, kind of above and beyond, you know, potentially what we're set out to do. So
couldn't echo it more. Yeah,
No,
so good.
yeah.
Just to add, like, from both of you, obviously I met you both as coming into the competition as the like the participation coordinator, and I just remember, like, when I was telling you that you weren't shortlisted, but there was the reasons behind it, Darren, and saying, you know, but there's still so much you can get out with this. You were just like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna grab it with both hands and do it all, and, you know, I'll have my time. And the same, like, with Chris, like, just the fact that, like, you know, that you did everything since that day coming into the network. We've sent you and asked of you, and the fact that you're even here, like, today, just shows that you've always taken the opportunities, and it's just so lush that you take them, because, you know, that's what all we do at First and at PNE, where we're constantly just trying to find opportunities for you guys, and it's just lush to see.
Well, I mean, I think on the back of that, I think you kind of my you know, obviously due to the pandemic and things, my business as such is, you know, kind of 85% of my business is virtual. You know, that's, you know, kind of, again, how you put it across. So, you know, the suits that I get donated are all from people who, you know, potentially seeing what I'm putting out. But I only got that from the confidence of, you know, kind of being on social media or kind of seeing, you know, kind of what other people's, you know, kind of perceptions of what, you know, you're doing. And I think, you know, immersifying yourself in with like-minded people really supports, you know, because you don't need lots of money. You don't need, you know, sometimes it's that one person, the right place, the right time, that then can, you know, kind of potentially open the door. So
I think if I'd like to add to that as well, because it's kind of made me think of some extra things. And I think the best way for me to sum it up is, imagine you're going to start off something on your own, and then you meet. It sounds actually really kind of heartfelt and a little bit ridiculous as I'm thinking about it more, but you need like, it's like you meet almost like a little family, that is going to be there just throughout your journey. And for me, when I would get asked to do this, for example, or things in the past, it's just like saying no would never even cross my mind. And I think, yes, I'm really grateful for the opportunity as well, but just having that hat on to say all of these potential opportunities, no matter where they lead, like I'm going to agree to and I'm going to commit to, because it really is, if I look back at my journey from really knowing no one and knowing nothing to now having conversations with Pearson education, you know what I mean? To go from that person to a person who's confident in them conversations is really all part of the evolution, which has been supported by people like PNE and First, no doubt. So
that's incredible. Thank you. It's interesting as well, because you both have, although they're both kind of purpose-led businesses, they're very different in the kind of structure and how they work and the kind of the different milestones in the journey, but still, by kind of, I guess, throwing yourself in the deep end of the awards, you've still managed to find the connections that were right for you and kind of have it generate value. So that's really nice to hear. Before we move on, I kind of wanted to ask one other question as well. So a big part of the awards this year is kind of having access to those skills building workbooks and workshops and kind of having all the partners feed in with their kind of expertise. Is there anything that you have to kind of share about the skills that it helped you develop? So we talked about kind of networks and confidence, but in terms of the skills for supporting you as a founder, have you managed to kind of get much value out of the awards for that?
Sure. I mean, I definitely have. I would say even the first thing that comes to mind is just pitching. I did design engineering at university, which was all about presenting, but like I remember in university being terrified, like literally. I still enjoyed it to an extent, but the fear before was just next level. I mean, like heart racing, just was thinking, what about if I just can't speak, or what, like, you know, the racing thoughts that you get when you're not really used to presenting. But then pitching at the Ideas Prize, and then the year later at Wants to Watch, and doing 16 pitches or however many tables or in a row. I mean, the pitch was just coming out of your mouth and you didn't know how, it was just kind of coming out. And then on the stage at the end in front of a big room, that type of stuff. And then with PNE for the Get Grown Your Network event, like even something like that is just, for me, they're kind of monumental, because I love doing that now. So the pitching's definitely been a thing.
I think I mean, thank you so much for sharing those stories. Hopefully for the people who are watching this, if they've got any doubt in their head, you've kind of passed on that confidence as well, and you're kind of bringing them into the community. So that's really lovely. So next, I'm just going to take you through 9 top tips for writing a killer application. These are tips that can hopefully help you plan your pitch for the Startup Awards Northeast, but they're also hopefully useful for other parts of your business. So if you're going for other awards, it will help you to write an application for them, or maybe you're thinking about applying for funding or writing a proposal for a client. So they're really kind of high level things that you can use to improve how you talk about your business. So let's get started. Before
cutie.
Before we go through the tips, just a little bit more about me. So as I've said before, I work for PNE. We're a business support organisation. We've worked with thousands of businesses across the region since we started in 1980. My particular work, I'm the brand development and market relationship guru, and I work with PNE to write funding applications, to do a lot of the marketing and write awards applications. And then I also support the businesses we work with to improve their kind of proposals and marketing and those kind of things. So that's a little bit of background on me. Let's get started. So my first top tip is, don't forget that you've done the hard work. At this point, you've come up with your business idea, or you're already in business, or maybe you're even thinking about growing. It's a time to celebrate. It's a time to really shout about what you've already done and the journey that you've taken to get here. So don't see it as a sort of big, scary mountain and putting yourself out there. It's a time to be smug and to really kind of just talk about your successes. My next top tip is to list the positives, and this is before you start. So when you're planning your pitch, spend a little bit of time just reminding yourself about why you're doing this, why you thought this business was a great idea in the first place. Maybe you've had feedback on it, and channel that and remind yourself what other people thought was valuable about the business that you're kind of planning or you're taking forward. And also reflect on the skills that you have. So what is it about you that will help you take this business forward? I think a lot of people, when they're starting a business, they don't realize how much of the support they get and how much they progress their business is based on themselves. So you could have the best business idea in the world, but a lot of the time people are investing in you, and they want, if you've got a terrible business idea but you shine, they're really happy to help you take things forward and find something that works. My third top tip is to look for themes. So once you've kind of written down and started planning out the successes and the strengths that you're going to share, think about, is there anything that those successes have in common? So I've got some examples here. Maybe you've been really great at overcoming challenges, you're a massive problem solver. Maybe it's your commercial prowess. You've found a business that's growing really quickly organically, and you're in this to help scale up, and you know that you found something that you can really run with in terms of sales. Maybe you're an innovator. So Chris, for example, has invented a whole new piece of technology to take his business forward. So he would definitely fit into that category. And then also being a community champion. Don't underestimate the value that talking about kind of your networks and recognizing the reach that you have with other people and the way that you've had other people feed into your business can be a real strength to share. So for this slide, I've just highlighted an activity that you might want to do kind of in consideration of the last few slides. And that is just think about what your strengths are, write them down, and then join the dots between those themes. So my fourth top tip is asking what's important, whether you've got 300 words or it's a 3-minute pitch that you're delivering, or maybe you have loads of space to talk about your business when you're applying for an award. Think about the most important things that you need to communicate for that specific award and for what the judges are looking for. So if you write a long list of the things that you want to share and then really try and refine it, what if you could only what if you could only tell the judges 3 things? What if you could only tell the judges 1 thing? And then once you've identified your kind of really big hitting pieces of information that you want to share, you can structure your pitch or your written application around that. And it just makes sure that the most important information is what people receive first, and it's what they remember about your application. The next top tip for you today is take ownership of your ideas. So when I've worked with businesses before, or also when I've been a judge for the previous competitions, people spend a lot of their text or a lot of the time in their pitch videos justifying why their ideas are good, and it's fine. We know you're fantastic. You can just tell us what your successes are. Tell us why you're good. You don't have to be polite about it. You can use words like, I did this. This is fantastic because I know X, Y, and Z, and really draw on your experience and use that to kind of drive why your business is, or your business idea is really important. Okay, so my 6th top tip, it sounds really obvious, but share your success. So the success that we have is subjective. The awards deal with businesses at all different stages of the journey. Maybe they're at the first stage where they've had an idea and they really just want to build networks to test it. Maybe you're looking at really growing your business and you've already kind of come a really long way. What success looks like is down to you. So for example, if you are at that early stage, having the guts to talk to your family and friends and tell them that you're thinking about starting a business is an incredible milestone. And if you're starting a business, reaching out for support, or maybe finishing your business plan, or setting up your social media, they're all fantastic as well. My 7th tip for you today is be concise. So kind of as I was saying before about prioritizing the information, using fewer words to say the most important things is really important. You don't need to over-explain why things are important as long as you get the information across. There's an activity that I kind of suggest that you do if you want to kind of develop that, and that is identify the most important things you need to tell the judges, and then decide what they actually need to know about that. So they need to know all the kind of technical things behind an invention that you've made, or do they need to know the relationships that made it possible to start your business? No, but they do need to know what your business idea is and why it matters. My 8th tip for you is to avoid jargon. So again, picking up on that technical thing, every sector has different jargon that's relevant to it. You know, we abbreviate everything with letters, but just sort of assume that the judges don't know anything about the area that you're working in. Treat it as if you're meeting someone for a coffee for the first time, and in really simple language, you're explaining what you do. So I had a really good example the other day. I was speaking to a business who is developing a cancer drug. I know nothing about cancer drugs, but the way that he described it to me was a fluorescent Bonjela that you shine a light on. And there is so much science behind that. But for someone like me who has no understanding, it was the perfect way of letting me understand what their business was and what their product was. And then my final tip is use evidence. So evidence comes in different forms. You might not be at a stage where you have lots of feedback from your customers. You might not be at a point where you've collected a lot of data, but maybe you've been in a session and described what your business does and got feedback from a really small group. Maybe you've been in the press, or maybe people have picked up what you're doing on social media. And keep a track of all of those successes and all of that evidence. And then when you come to apply, you can pick it up and throw everything you have at the judges. If you feel like you don't have any evidence, there's loads that you can do to support your application in the planning stage. So the first thing is just ask a friend what they think about your business idea, or ask someone who's been a client for a testimonial. You're already partway there. And then a bonus tip for you, let you shine. There is no right type of founder. There is no correct way to do business. There's no kind of networks that you have to be part of and you're in or you're out. This is about you and your journey. And I think when you're yourself and you're honest and you're passionate, that shines brighter than anything else. And I think for a lot of you, it might be the case that you haven't done loads of networking in the past, and you should feel confident that this is a kind of really supportive community that you can get involved in, and they want to help you. Everyone's sort of cheerleading for you. They're on your side. We're here to champion you. I mean, you heard from Chris and Darren earlier. That's been a big part of their journey, and hopefully it can be part of yours too.
That was awesome, Billy. That's so cool. It's such great to have an insight into some of the work that you've done at PNE before as well, in terms of them tips. And although, like you say, a lot of it seemed really obvious, I don't think everyone does think about it, do they? In terms of, you know, that authenticity and, you know, that kind of celebration. And I know from when I tried to do an application about a year and a half ago for FIRST, it was really challenging for me to like not come across as cocky, but still putting the information in. So yeah, so really, really cool. Really love that. Thanks. I learned a lot from that as well.
So I've got a few questions for you guys if you're up for it. Okay, so we'll start with you, Chris. What advice would you give someone who is considering applying for the awards but maybe isn't sure yet?
The advice I would give them if they weren't sure on applying for the awards is go for it. I think in the Northeast, it's the awards to be part of, isn't it? And then, as like previously mentioned, all the benefits. It's kind of a no-brainer. But what I would say is make sure that for you and your idea, or your just started idea, or your scaling up business especially, is an idea and is an awards event and application process, right? Like that's just like something that you need to consider. Is it something, because I got, after the If We Can You Can in 2018, I went on kind of a run of just like, okay, well, what more awards can I apply for? And then it's like, oh, that's a distraction. So if it feels organic and it feels like the right thing, then do it. And I would say if then you do decide to apply and you're in the application process, my tip would be human, because I know from experience this is just my personal tact, is when I write, I kind of just write as if like someone is listening to the voice inside of my head in a way, and it's just like I can like go back on things and make it really kind of candid or pieced together in a way, but just make sure, and there is a line with that obviously, but I like to just make sure that the person read it kind of feels what I'm saying, rather than it being just like standard copy and really kind of structured almost clinically and too perfect. I think the human element, as you did touch upon, Billy, in those 9 tips. But yeah, I just want to echo that it's really about just authenticity and communicating who you are, what you stand for, why you're doing this, and therefore why you should go through to the next stage of the awards application process.
That's amazing. Thank you. That's so helpful, hopefully, for the people watching this. Darren, did you have anything to add or share?
I would so don't overthink it. Be confident. Obviously, you know, that's why you're doing it. But then, you know, kind of seek the opportunities. You know, kind of the more almost kind of things that you've got going on, you know, the more kind of opportunity for progression, or that kind of, you know, that connection that, you know, might, you know, kind of want to get involved or want to support. And I think, you know, putting yourself out there just really, you know, emphasize, you know, why you're doing it. And, you know, as Chris mentioned, you know, the Northeast, you know, we can kind of try and develop something that, you know, sustains, you know, entrepreneurs going forwards, and, you know, kind of shows to the rest of, you know, the country that, you know, the Northeast is the place to be. You know, people, you know, leaving school, colleges, universities, you know, can come and, you know, almost be a hub of services that, you know, that can set up and scale up and progress.
Amazing. So Zoe, slightly different question for you. So the same principle, what advice do you have? But obviously you've been on the judging side for a few years now. So as someone who's kind of overseen that process, do you have any advice for people applying?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I've found with a lot of the really excitable and wonderfully passionate entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't quite have the focus in terms of their idea yet. And, you know, that's a great place to be. But I think when you're trying to pitch an idea, like, don't forget that person's trying to understand what you're saying. So like you were saying, be concise, and yes, be passionate and authentic, but maybe try and, you don't have to tell them everything in that first 3 minutes, you know, leave some stuff for future conversation. There's an element of mystery on some aspects of what you're working on or what you think about is really, you know, actually quite interesting, because someone will be like, oh, you mentioned that you've met this person, what you're doing there. And that's the kind of conversations that come on the back of it, because that's the whole idea of a pitch or an elevator pitch, in my opinion. It's to invoke questions and it's to get people excited. You don't want people to watch a video and be like, oh, well, I know everything now. Okay, yeah, that business is okay. You want them to think, all right, okay, so what, he designed something to do with children who don't have enough resources, and he does something with suits and mental health, what, and I want to know more, you know. So I think it's that kind of learning your hook in a little bit of a salesy, and fundamentally the last one, which is purely just from a logistics and my role, is read all of the literature. Read the information, read the resources given, and take advantage of what's given to you. There's a lot of time and effort that's gone into finding the stuff that'll help you through this entrepreneurial journey, and everyone really cares about it. So yeah, take notice and take advantage.
Thank you so much. You've all shared so much. I think it's really nice, I think, for people to see how much support there is, even in this room of 4 people. And then if you replicate that by the amount of people involved in the awards, it's a really exciting time coming up, I think. As a final kind of bit of guidance, Zoe, did you want to share how to apply for the awards?
To echo what Billy just said, the amount of support that's available in the Northeast is immense. And as Darren said, we're a force to be reckoned with as a region. There's so many opportunities, as Chris said, in terms of what's available throughout the region and the awards. The website is on screen now, www.startupawards.ne.co.uk, or you can head to the first website, which is youarefirst.co.uk. It's dead simple to apply, it's dead easy, but if you've got any questions, the first team are more than happy to help. And I'm sure if you've reached out to previous applicants like Chris and Darren, they'll be more than happy to give you a couple of words of advice as well. And the same goes for Billy. So yeah, don't waste time, just do it.